Welcome to CGT Studios in Los Angeles, California. I'm Edward Earl with CEO Growth Team.
I'm Brian Rizzo, the CEO of ICE Cable Systems.
And we are on the set of Headlines. And this whole program is about exposing some of the mistruths and misunderstandings in any industry, but especially in the cabling industry. And I brought Brian, the CEO of ICE Cable Systems, on with us today to talk about some of the garbage that's really going on in your industry, and it's causing an uproar, and I think it's really inflamed your guys' organization. So, Brian, I'm just going to throw it to you.
It has, yeah, thanks. Look, there's a lot of really nasty stuff going on out there when it comes to cutting corners on wire and cable. We're going to take a closer look at some of that stuff today. But I'll tell you, a lot of guys wonder, how can companies make Cat 5e so cheap? How do they make it? It's a core cable in our market. How do you see such a large disparity on a relatively inexpensive item? Well, it's one of those things where you see numbers that look so good that it's too good to be true. As the old saying goes, if it looks too good to be true, it is.
It is true. Right.
It really is. There's no mysteries in the wire and cable biz. There's no way to truly manufacture a basic product like that for significantly less money than anyone else. Which begs the question then, how are guys doing it?
Right, because there's no place you can hide and pad and things that you can dump on or pull away. It pretty much is what it is.
Well, if you're building the product the right way and you're doing it legitimately, you're absolutely right. There's no way to hide that stuff.
Right.
However, we're going to take a look at how they really hide that stuff so you can kind of see what's going on, and it'll explain some of the numbers a little bit and make some sense of the industry here.
Fantastic. Pay attention, guys.
No, look, the truth is it's all about materials. Less material is less money. And when it comes to Cat 5e, a little bit of less material goes a long way and can make a huge impact on the difference in price. Unfortunately, less material also means less performance and potential safety issues down the road, depending on where you're cost cutting on that particular cable. So, look, Cat 5e is by far the #1 SKU out there. When guys are looking at price, that's the item that they're looking for.
Right.
They're not so much concerned about some of the ancillary cables and this, that, and the other. When they're price shopping, they're looking for your Cat 5e.
That is their staple.
That's it. That's it. And so, from that respect, we understand it. We understand, the reason that this stuff is showing up in the marketplace, and manufacturers are cutting corners on that particular SKU. We're actually going to hit on some other SKUs later because it doesn't really end at Cat 5, but this is the biggest culprit that we see out there. And to be honest with you, look, we're pissed off about this stuff. It's frustrating to constantly get calls from customers saying, "What the heck is going on out there? Why are we seeing such inexpensive stuff? What's the deal?"
Yeah, and it is interesting, Brian, if I can interject real quick. I remember years ago when I was in the auto industry and I started to train auto dealers on sales. And we've all been there because we bought a car, and there's a technique that they teach that I tried to get everybody off of that program, which is called putting somebody on the bubble. And the objective many times is to send a person away after you've tried to sell them with a price that's so low that they know that nobody can actually meet that price.
Right.
And technically, they may not be able to sell it for that price legitimately.
Yeah.
But the person goes out, dealer to dealer to dealer to dealer, with this card at this number, trying to beat that price. They can't get it done. 2 days later, they are worn out.
Yeah.
They come back to the dealer that floated them that price, and then the dealer softly and gently and deftly bursts the bubble by saying, "Oh, we sold that car the other day. I misquoted you. I'm so sorry. But you know what, Mrs. Johnson? Come on. You're worn out. We have the green Honda Accord. Let's just do the deal.
You're already here.
You're already here, and
Why
she's
not?
already gone everywhere else, been dissatisfied, and use that negativity." Now, I'm not saying that they're doing that, but in the end, they are floating some prices and not telling their real story.
Well, I think they are doing that because what's happening is it's the loss leader, for better or for worse. And every industry's kind of got their loss leader. This cable is our loss leader. And so if they're going to use one cable out there and say, as that hook, as you're talking about, to really get guys in the door, this is where they're going to do it.
Right.
Unfortunately, they don't stop there. But let's take a look at how they're doing it, because what's interesting is, by far, the #1 way for them to cut price on Cat 5 is to actually shave copper.
Wow.
There's 8 conductors in Cat 5. You take a little bit off of each one, times it by 1,000 feet on a 1,000-foot roll, and it's a lot. It can make a really big difference. And so that's by far the most common way to kind of, in looking at this. The other way to do it is to start reducing on the performance and the specifications.
Right.
We see 350 megahertz Cat5 is kind of the industry standard now. We just bought some stuff from one of our competitors and found out it was 100 megahertz Cat5.
You guys don't really pull any punches. I mean, you're serious about what you do, and you really take the competitors' kind of information to task.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, the loser here is, when manufacturers are doing this kind of stuff, the loser is the dealer, and the loser is the homeowner at the end of the day, who's actually having this stuff, or could be a business owner who's got a building that this stuff's being put in. They're the loser at the end of the day. Nobody really wins here when this kind of stuff
Well, it's like our facility in the studio that we're in right now. We've got slow performance and some of the things, and nobody knows what kind of foundational wire and cabling is in and hooked up to all this equipment.
Exactly.
And we end up losing. And guys, you got to remember that. If you're a distributor or dealer, that's one thing, but if you're a consumer, you have to understand this stuff, because you've got to demand that the cabling that you're using or that your distributor or dealer is using is coming from ICE at these specifications. If not, you can buy the greatest components in the world. It won't make any difference if it's on a bad foundation.
Yep, for sure. And look, the two other areas that we see guys really cutting hard is, one is they'll actually replace copper with something called CCA, which is copper clad aluminum. I know, right?
Sneaky.
Much less expensive than regular copper. If you really want to get some down and dirty Cat5, we see plenty of that out there. You can't tell either unless you actually cut the cable open and take a look at the conductor.
It's like fake leather vinyl, kind of.
Yep. And then lastly is safety and performance ratings.
Right.
Look, you have to make very specific compounds in order to get UL, CMR, and CMP type of ratings, and they cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
So one other easy way to save money is to advertise one compound rating and then use a less expensive compound and ship that. Sometimes guys will mix this stuff up. They'll shave the copper, plus reduce the rating, so on and so forth,
Right.
and they'll mix some of these techniques.
The problem is really that people don't actually understand it, and then nobody's ever dug in deep to expose what's really happening.
It's a shame.
So they just don't know.
They don't know what's happening to them, for sure. Look, we measure a lot of competitive products because we have to. We see so many things out there. We see so many down and dirty stuff. We get so many odd phone calls about,
Right.
this, that, and the other super cheap product in the marketplace. So we really have to say, hey, what's going on? It's up to us to really find out what's happening in the marketplace and really get to the bottom of it. So that's kind of what we did here. Take a look at this first slide that we got for you. What we did was we got some cable from the marketplace, common to what we see pretty much on a regular basis out there, and we started to measure it.
Right.
How much copper is in this thing, really. This is actually a Cat5 cable, and you'll see we put our micrometer on here, and it measures 0.46.
Right.
Cat5 is 24 gauge cable, and the millimeter equivalent is 0.51. Well, when you're seeing 0.46 here, again, times 8 conductors, times 1,000 feet, it's a lot of missing copper.
What percentage of missing copper is that?
Well, you'll see in a second as we get a couple slides down the road, we're going to translate that into weight, we're going to translate that into dollars.
Okay.
And you'll see how much that turns out to here. Flip to the next slide and you'll see this is a nice cable box of Cat5, again measured exactly spot on 0.51 where it's supposed to be. It's just how we build it. Most of the guys out there are, in order to get that price advantage, are having to do that stuff, or having to chop the copper, and really, it's not the right way to go.
No cheating for you guys.
No, it's not how we handle things. We'll let the rest of the market operate that way, and it's just not what we do or how we do it.
Right.
So, in translating this a little bit into real dollars and things like that, and real performance issues, step ahead, you'll see this is that same bundle that we measured at 0.46. You'll see here that bundle is weighing in at 18.8 pounds.
Okay.
Scroll one down here to the ICE bundle, exactly 2 pounds heavier at 20.8 pounds. Look, right now, Ed, copper closed yesterday at 4.04, over $4.
Right.
Times 2 pounds, that's over $8 per bundle.
Yeah, well, there's your
There's your cheap Cat5.
headline right there.